How's it going, YouTube? DoctorC3 here, and we are officially back with the CPL Season 2 Week 1 recap video. If you guys are excited as I am, please, make sure to like the video and comment down below if you are going to be, interested in these battles as to how I portray them. Each week, we're going to be going through, the first 3 weeks are going to be an experimental period where I might dabble with different layouts and different styles of video, and we'll play it by ear. But as of now, just the best thing you can do if you watch it, just let me know your feedback. If you liked it, if you think I can do things differently, just let me know. As we're starting to be on a time crunch here for week 1, I decided for this video we're going to be speeding things up. They're going to be played at 200%, and I'm just going to do a voiceover recap of these videos, quickly explaining the battle and some of the more pivotal moments as opposed to worrying about the nitty-gritty details of each move. So first up on the dock we have Casey, coach of the Vancouver Volcaronas, versus John, coach of the Nassau Nidokings, or Nassau Nidokings. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but you'll see it spelled at the end of the video, I promise you. So as you can see, both of them bring a stellar lineup. Casey sporting the Mega Gyarados and John sporting the Mega Medicham, both huge powerhouses in their own right, with great defensive cores on each side. Looking on paper, I would have to say John having one Stealth Rocker in Stunfisk, it's probably going to be his lead, as opposed to Casey. If he was trying to get up his own rocks, Mew would be that rocker. I don't know on the team if Mew's going to be a defensive Pokemon. It looks like it, as Gyarados and Haxorus and Volcarona are most likely going to be offensive. Mew might be defensive, but I don't know. So, with all that said, I'm going to say let's jump right into this battle and see how everything looks, right? So, alright. So first up, we're going to see Stunfisk lead with the Mew, and Stunfisk is going to try to get up those rocks. This Mew is just going to simply go for a Swords Dance and Earthquake. So I was wrong in the prediction. It is going to be a setup Mew. Pestilence, the Celesteela decides to come in, and as you can tell by that damage, that Thunder Punch did about more than half. That was a setup Mew, so we know that it's on the defensive side, that Celesteela. We see it with the leftovers, of course. It has Leech Seed, Protect, and it's just gaining that health back. As we see the Volt Switch come out for that Lantern definitely has some special attack investment, because that Volt Switch did a ton to the Celesteela. So good prep on the Skarmory side, bringing both of them, as Haxorus tried to set up but was forced out due to the Leech Seed. So Celesteela is just being kind of a nuisance, as this Limelight Lantern keeps trying to pivot in and pivot back out. The key to Skarmory's match right here is to make sure that Lantern stays as healthy as possible to wear down that Celesteela, because Celesteela can prove to be a threat otherwise. Florges is going to come out, try and wish. He's going to withdraw, try and wish past that out to Celesteela, of course, as Togekiss wants to defog, and we see this Togekiss just trying to be a cleric and, a nuisance for the opponent's team. For John, of course, he gets a Thunder Wave on the Celesteela, hindering its longevity, and, or not longevity, but hindering its effectiveness, as he's just going to pivot right in and out of Lantern again. So, we do see the sub. We've seen all 4 moves on Celesteela. So, we know it's a mono heavy slam, which is pretty interesting, as Solaris, the Quiver Dancing monster, is going to come out, and it's just going to straight up bop Celesteela with a flamethrower. Now that's a huge play. Now that Celesteela's gone, that opens up the door to a lot of other Pokemon, such as the Gyarados and the Mew on I'm blanking right now, the Volcarona side. So a lot of switching, trying to gain momentum here, as Haxorus just decides to come in, and the Poison Jab is going to straight up one-shot up okay. Florges. Haxorus has an incredible attack stat. So we do see the Ice Beam come out for Porygon Z. Porygon Z is one of those threats as well, so you have to watch out. It can really put the hurt on some Pokemon here, as Togekiss isn't going to want to be taking an Ice Beam from this Porygon Z. So we're going to see, due to that Thunder Wave, Togekiss is going to be faster than the Porygon Z, and he's going to go for the flinch hacks, and he does eventually get it 60% chance to flinch, and that's going to make it so that this Togekiss is going to be able to knock out that Porygon Z as Baloney decides to come in. We saw it with the Shadow Ball earlier in the match. This most likely indicates that Mind Blown is going to be a choice Scarf set. John is going to be able to stay in with this and probably get off some massive damage on this Gyarados. And that Mind Blow, yep, we're going to see him sack off Blacephalon, and it almost just straight up one-shots the Gyarados with a crit. Interesting stuff there. Mega Medicham is going to be able to evolve, and just straight up fakes out. It has the priority, and we're going to see Solaris win the speed tie against this Mega Medicham. Going to be able to hit a huge flamethrower off, and that's going to make it so that Mew can just come in, live any hit that the Medicham wants, and one shot, or at least finish it off. So Casey's going to take a 2-0 lead against the Nasu Nidokings for week 1. Great match on both sides of the field, and I just got to say, with 2 of the new coaches in the league joining, I'm super excited to see what they have in store of us for the rest of the season. So I have to say, with that in mind, let's go ahead and find the next battle, which is going to be against... It's going to be... Give me 1 second here. Sorry about this. Buffering. So, we're going to see Zemanan and Pip. So, Pip is coach of the Atlanta Arcanines, who I believe played... Let me check 1 second here. I believe Pip did play the Thundurus. No, I'm sorry. He played the Zemanan. Is Brandon, coach of the Seattle Super Seadras. Or, not Seadras, I don't know why I said that. Seattle Super Skeptiles, excuse me. So we can see on both sides of the field, we do have a Tangrowth, and we do have the Darmanitan. No water type, but, I guess we do have Gliscopod. Never mind. Ignore what I'm saying. But we do see the Sam with the T-Tar Excadrill core coming out for the Skeptiles. And for Pip, we do see a very, very fast team with Nihilego, Whimsicott for priority, and Tapu Koko, and Diggersby with priority. So we're going to see who fares out of this match pretty well. If I had to guess the leads, I would predict maybe a Tapu Koko or a Scissor lead for Pip, as opposed to Brandon, the Seattle Super Skeptiles. I keep saying that. I'm so sorry. There is a Seadras team in the league. It's very easy to say with the triple S's. I would maybe predict something like a T-Tar lead just to immediately get up the sand, or maybe a Gliscopod just to sort of hurt something. So we're going to see here what happens. Like I said, you might have already seen that I've played them before, so I do predict terribly incorrect with both Pokemon. We do see Tangrowth and Alomomola. So Tangrowth was a great lead, gonna go for the knockoff here, as this is gonna be a wish regenerating monster of an Alomomola. Goes into the Mega Scissor, so Mega Scissor is gonna stay in, and this is where the Seattle Super Skeptiles were I'm sorry, this is where the Pip and the Atlanta Arcanines really played their match well. We see Edward, who's an agility roost set, and it has Baton Pass, so it's mono attacking, and it's here to speed pass for other Pokemon, such as Speedweed, and you can see the passing for Pip and the Atlanta Arcanines wasn't the best, and that kind of like, he sacked his Whimsicott off, I feel, a little bit early, but we do see the Nihilego starting to force some switches as the sand does come up, benefiting both T-Tar and Nihilego on the especially defensive side. Just a lot of pivoting in this match. We're going to see the Tangrowth come out, trying to straight up get this Alomomola once again. We saw a hidden power. It's not going to do that much, so Tangrowth just trying to regain some health back. This is where I thought Pip made another move pretty poorly. Letting Alomomola get so low, even though it has a regenerator and take the hits. It's one of those defensive Pokemon that are going to really put in a lot of pressure against that team. As we do see the Volt Switch just straight up one-shot it. So he probably would have lived that Volt Switch had he been at, a better HP stat. I could be wrong though. But we do see now the offensive pressure starts to take place with Big Chungus, the Diggersby, going to be able to force out that T-Tar. And might not be able to do much to Tangrowth, but we do see the Earthquake really put in some work, as the return is going to be able to get the knockout. So Tangrowth is now gone, as Darmanitan goes hard right in. Makes me want to believe that it is some sort of Scarf variant of Darmanitan, as you just see the Nihilego isn't going to be able to take that. He does switch out, and Golisopod's going to come in. Doesn't take the Sludge Wave well, but the emergency exit plays in his favor as T-Tar comes back out and is able to wall this Lily, this Nihilego. So Edward comes back out as T-Tar predicts and goes for the double into Golisopod. And Liquidation is going to be a 2-shot on this Mega Scissor, but Mega Scissor is going to be able to knock him out due to the speed boost. Incredible things happening on both ends of the field. So that Agility Baton Pass set is giving Pip a lot of momentum, but the Skeptiles just have a monstrous core with Darmanitan and Tangrowth. Tangrowth put in a lot of work early game, and Darmanitan is going to be sacked to this Diggersby, as it looks like T-Tar is going to come out. Looks like it's going to be a sack lead just to get up the sand, because we do have Excadrill sitting in the back for the Skeptiles. So we thought it was all hope lost for the Excadrill, as we do see it's just going to be able to come out now and put in the work with Earthquake. So Earthquake, I should be able to one-shot the rest of Pip's team at this point. Yeah, it looks, I don't think, we do see the Tectonic Rage Excadrill, so that's easily going to be able to finish off this Edward. And Cappuccino, which is the Tapu Koko, is not going to be able to outspeed in the sand unless it is Scarf. And even then, I don't think it would be able to keep up with its pace. So we do see Excadrill coming in for the late game sweep, just like Diggersby did earlier. So interesting stuff. Again, those are 2 new coaches in the league. So all 4 of those coaches, you could just tell by their play style, they're going to be threats week in and week out, and I'm very excited to have them in the league. Now, next up on the dock, we do have Aaron, coach of the Roman Empoleons, runner-up of CPL Season 1, versus Namu, which I believe is the Portland Thunderous, but coached by Apollo. So, we do see the Semi-Pour come out for the Portland Thunderous, and I gotta say, I still don't get that. Maybe he wanted to prove something this match by bringing it, but Aaron has one of the best cores in my league, or in my opinion for this league, having Tapu Lele, Hydreigon, and Mega Ball Wow, aside from Nasu Nidokings and maybe a few other coaches. But Aaron straight up brought the A-team with Zapdos, Gigalith for the sand. Maybe he doesn't use the stand and runs the Sturdy set, and Roserade. Just all those Pokemon are threats in their own right. As the Portland Thunderous bring the Metagross. We see the Mega Beedrill, so a lot of speed. That's going to be able to outpace most of the Pokemon on Aaron's side of the field, which is nice. Rotom, which is just a defensive monster. Lycanroc with priority. And Krook, which is really alleviates the Stealth Rock pressure from Metagross and let it be like weakness policy set or something else. So we're going to see how this matches up. If I had to predict bleeds again, I know it says played, but I just have to do this just because I predict Crocodile, and if I were to guess Aaron's lead, I'd say maybe something such as the Gigalith to set up his own rocks. But he might try to counter lead, so we'll see. Yep, so we're going to be jumping right into things. Now, Portland Thunderous is one of the last coaches that are new in the league, so it'll be interesting to see. As we do see the Metagross lead come out in the Hydreigon. So, good prediction for the Roman Empoleons leading Hydreigon, trying to get that Metagross. As we do see the Krook come out, get the Intimidate off. It's not really going to matter. U-turn was super effective, but you can see it does pitiful damage. It leads me to believe that Krook has some HP investment, if I had to guess. Either that or it's a negative attack nature on Hydreigon. So, Krookodile going to be able to get this Tapu Lele relatively weak, but Tapu Lele will be able to finish it off, of course, as Beedrill is going to force it out just due to the high speed stat, as Zapdos is going to come in. So, is most likely running static Zapdos to maybe get a static off on the U-turn or something. Not going to be able to get it, unfortunately. Rotom does come out, though. So, Rotom versus Zapdos. I believe Zapdos does win this draw out. But he did get a huge Thunderbolt off on the Zapdos, so we do see that either it's defensive Zapdos or that Rotom is choiced in some fashion. So, Metagross does come right out to the top of Lele, threaten it out with a Bullet Punch, of course, as Kami, the Zapdos, comes in. I don't know if it's going to want to take a Bullet Punch, but we do see Metagross make the prediction with the Zen Headbutt. So, Zen Headbutt comes out. Hydreigon is going to be able to, stop Metagross in its tracks. It does take the Dark Pulse. It takes one and sets up the rocks. So, rocks, it looks like, are going to be here to stay on Aaron's side of the field. I don't believe he has, unless he's running default Hydreigon as of now. And Simipour is not going to be able to take 2 Dark Pulses, just showing that Hydreigon is a true threat. Just knocking out Pokemon left and right. So, again, Beedrill comes out. That high speed stat is going to be able to force it out as Gigalith does come in, as we do see. It's just like whittling it down. There was no sand, so it is going to be sturdy Gigalith. And Signal Beam, predicting the switch, comes out from Rotom. Very interesting set, I have to say. So, a lot of switching to get initiative. And Metagross is here again. Doesn't get the Intimidate off. Mawile is not going to be able to intimidate Metagross. Sorry about that. Due to the Clear Body. Phenomenal ability. So Sucker Punch does come off from Mawile. Very, very risky set to run, especially because Tapu Lele doesn't block that priority if it's grounded. So, Lycanroc is going to be here, and it's just going to drill run, and it's going to do nasty things. It's going to be able to one-shot the Gigalith. Well, it was pretty weak to begin with, but Roserade does force that out. And just judging by the Sludge Bomb damage, you can't really tell because Beedrill 4 times resisted. Tapu Lele just set up the Psychic Surge, so a Cell Rock can't come off, as Beedrill does pick off and make it so that that U-turn makes it so that Aaron has the initiative again. Goes out into Mawile and doubles into Roserade, predicting him to go for something like a Scald or a Hydro Pump, not wanting to get burned. Interesting. But we do see Rotom take out Roserade. That's pretty interesting to see. You don't see that often, but it looks like Hydreigon should be able to clean. Takes out that Rotom. Might be able to live a hit from the... Yeah, it does live the Stone Edge. So, it does look like this Hydreigon is going to be able to clean. Is going to get forced out by that Beedrill. Oh no! So Hydreigon was indeed, it unveils that it was scarfed this entire time. So good props by Aaron knowing that Hydreigon was his win condition. But still, you can't factor out Thunderous making a good prediction with the Metagross. Expecting him to switch out with Tapu Lele and go for something like a Zen Headbutt to just maximize output damage. Again, don't really know why the Simipour came. I get it. I've never seen a monkey used effectively in Draft League format. So maybe we're just trying to prove something. I don't know. At the end of the day, I'd say let's jump into one of our final battles as one of the coaches. Yeah, so we should be able to have 5 battles each weekly recap, but because a coach dropped out this week, that makes it so that we have to really play around that, and there was only 4 battles this week instead. It'll be made up, and we'll see if it does end up getting covered in week 2 of the CPL, but at this point I'm unsure. So yeah, with all that said, I'm just trying to get it. We have one more battle left to cover, and then we'll go into the fan document, which I'll link down below, and we'll just talk about how standings are doing overall and who's leading in kills and whatnot and all that fun stuff, and of course trades. So we're going to be finding our very last battle here, and it looks like it is going to be... It looks like it is going to be the Kansas City Kingras versus the Seattle Seadras. So Kingra, of course, coach of the Kansas City Kingras, and Shempity, coach of the Seattle Seadras, are going to face off. And I have to say, they faced off twice in the CPL Season 1. And Kingras is known to be a phenomenal battler, one who can really pivot well and always keep momentum up. And Shempity is known to just have great type synergy on his team and do the same thing essentially as Kingra in pivot, but not so much gain speed initiative or just to make sure that it's always going to be able to take the next hit coming. So every turn really counts in this match, and I'm going to be excited to see. We see Tornadus come out, so it might be a defensive pivoting set if I had to guess. Trying to get threats like Swampert and threats like Gardevoir, and of course we don't really know what set Guzzlord may be. It might be a defensive set, it might be an offensive set. Same with Venusaur, just one of those teams where it has natural bulk in almost all of its Pokemon, but we don't really know what the rules are yet. Kingras, of course, too. With the Quillfish, we don't really know what the Quillfish wants to do. Same with Arcanine. Conkeldurr, if I had to guess, it's going to be either like a Guts Flame Orb set, or it's going to be the Assault Vest Guts set, just to sponge hits. Maybe it might be Iron Fist. And it has Sheer Force too. It's one of those Pokemon that has like 3 great abilities for a fighting type. It's unreal. Claydol, there really to be a nuisance and set up its Stealth Rocks, alleviate that pressure from Jirachi, of course, and Amoonguss, just a great Pokemon. If I had to predict leads, I would say maybe a Blissey on Shepty's side, as Blissey and Swampert are the only two going to be able to set up Stealth Rocks, but I wouldn't be surprised if he let Tornadus just to have that U-turn and have a fast pivot into a hard-hitting move. Sorry, if I had to predict a lead, maybe a Jirachi or a Quillfish lead on the Kingras side, as Quillfish is a common lead. It'll be interesting to see. So, I'd say let's jump right into this match here. And I'm excited to round out this week. So we do see the Quillfish lead, as we do see the Tornadus lead. So, gonna get the Intimidate on Big Bird here, but we're gonna see a Taunt come off. So, Taunt's going to make sure that Quillfish can't set up Toxic Spikes and do things like Will-O-Wisp, and I think it gets Destiny Bond too. So it's a weird Pokemon in that sense. As Tornadus is going to be able to pivot, make sure that Swampert comes in and scare out the Arcanine. And it looks like Earthquake might be a 2-shot, but Shepity doesn't want to risk it. He goes straight into his Mega Venusaur. Now, Mega Venusaur should be able to hardball this Amoonguss, so Amoonguss swaps out into Jirachi. Now, if I had to guess, Jirachi is one of those Pokemon that's gonna go. We're gonna see the substitute come out, so it's a substitute Venusaur. Wow. I have to say, a good set. Make sure they can take one from Jirachi, and that knockoff does reveal that it was safety goggles. So he was fearing the sleep powder on Mega Venusaur. Interesting set. As a Guzzlord takes 2 hits from the Jirachi fairly well, as we do see a hefty amount of damage come out for that Dragon Tail. So it looks like, if I had to guess, that Guzzlord is banded. We see the Spore come out for Blissey, but it doesn't really matter because Blissey does have that natural cure ability, so upon switching out, it does lose that sleep, which is pretty interesting. We do see the crit on the bird, and it's a Rocking Helmet bird, so we do know that it's defensive. As the Ice Punch is not going to be able to take it out. That's a bulky bird. He does miss 2 Hurricanes, though. That is crucial to this matchup, because Tornadus is one of those Pokemon that could really threaten out that Conkeldurr, and now it's gone. So, we do see Gardevoir come in. and it's one of those Pokemon where tracing the Iron Fist isn't really going to help it that much, as Jirachi's most likely going to ensure that this Gardevoir comes out. So Skinner is going to be able to one-shot with Earthquake. So we do see that Swampert is Scarfed. Knowing that, Kingras got into Claydol, and Claydol's going to be able to force him out because he can't touch him. So now this is a great play by Shempity as he goes for Shadow Ball. Not realizing though, Gardevoir did trace the Levitate on Claydol, so he must not have seen it, and the Kingras went for Earthquake, and that was a big misplay on the Kingras end. And a good play too. That traceability, it comes in clutch if you have the right pivoting Pokemon. He decides to sack off Guzzlord. He figures he doesn't need it at this point, as Arcanine reveals that it is Life Orb. Good set on Arcanine. So Arcanine has to come back out every time Swampert comes in because he knows he's Scarfed at this point. And actually, I lied. So Amoonguss does force out Swampert every time it decides to come in, and Mega Venusaur just forced out Amoonguss because of that substitute now that we just saw. So Swampert is indeed coming back in. We know it's Scarfed, and it's going to be able to two-shot even with the attack drop with Earthquake. So might have been a high roll the second time, but nevertheless, we're going to see if it two-shots the Fungi. He doesn't want to risk it. He's just going to go out. So Blissey is one of the specially defensive tanks, and it's just going to take those Giga Drains, and he's going to set up those Stealth Rocks. Crucial because he knows that Arcanine is still in the back and he wants to chip at it a little bit more. As the Rock does decide to come out Conkeldurr, try and force out that Blissey again, which it does successfully, as Gardevoir can take any fighting type that comes its way. So you see that Drain Punch does nothing, and that's a defensive Gardevoir too, so it's going to be taking those hits relatively well. And he tries to switch in to take the hit, but of course Psychic is just going to be too much. That Life Orb Gardevoir looks like it's going to be able to clean up late game. It one-shots the Fungi, so we know Fungi wasn't especially defensive this match. And the Rock comes in. It might be able to Mach Punch, but it's not going to be enough to take out this Galadriel. And Shempity is going to be able to take out the match 6-3. So good plays on both sides of the field, but I really got to give it to Shempity with the Gardevoir tracing the Levitate on Claydol and Kingras. I mean, that was an unfortunate misplay there, but Kingras did get some revenge with the Tornadus missing 2 Hurricanes. So cool stuff going on there. Now, with all of that said, I think we should jump right into the season docs and talk about what happened week 1 and some of the trades on the team, and we'll finish out there. So we are back. As you can see on the screen, we have the official CPL Season 2 fan document. Now, if you want to keep track of the league in real time and break the fourth wall completely, this is your best bet. The link is going to be in the description below, and you can really just keep track of anything in the league at that point. So, as you can see, the people who had the top 4 picks in the draft actually all won out their week 1 match. Pretty interesting. Obviously, Seattle, besting the rest, having a +3 differential instead of a +2. But if you look at some of the league leaders, a lot of Pokemon really shown how they can hold their own in the league. Excadrill getting 4 kills, Hydreigon getting 4 kills, Gardevoir getting 4 kills, Diggersby, Anchor, Tarna, all of them. It's a little interesting to see the Gardevoir in there, as the other 4 typically tend to be in the limelight when it comes to top kill leaders. But maybe Seattle really has a knack for showing off those Pokemon that really don't deserve, or really don't have the love that they deserve. So, the reason why I am on the fan document at the end of this week is because we had a lot of free agency moves that are going to be coming into fruition here. And to top it all off, I want to talk about the new coach in the league, coach of the Fall Arbor Flames. So, let's jump right into that. Now, as you can see, a lot of Pokemon are taken into effective week 2, so let's jump right into the Enigmatic Elecmortars, as they decided to drop Halucha for Staraptor. You can see that in the bottom of your screen. In fact, I'll actually add the cursor. Sorry if the cursor is a little bit laggy. I'll try to move pretty slow. This is only in 30 FPS. So, Halucha was dropped for Staraptor, and as you can see, it doesn't really give him much. Obviously, it gives him U-turning potential, but really where it shines is its 120 attack and the reckless ability and intimidate. He has 3 intimidators on his team now with Hitmontop, Incineroar, and Staraptor. So really makes bringing physical type hitters on against him incredibly difficult. So looking at his team overall, I think adding the Staraptor was a good call. It really, obviously, it does give him that additional rock weakness. Same with ice, but he traded a flying type for a flying type, and he already has one of Murkrow, but I think this was just his call. He did end up saying that he only drafted Halucha because the pick before him had Tapu Koko on the team, and he really didn't want them to draft it. So we'll see if that team does decide to pick up Halucha on free agency. So let's jump back to the main here. Nidokings. The Nasu Nidokings made 2 moves: Basculin for Passimian and Porygon for Empoleon. So I want to talk about why that was a fantastic trade deal. So a lot of people say Porygon for Empoleon was an iffy call, and I have to say personally that I think Empoleon was much better for his team than Basculin was, and for Porygon, because it gives him another Stealth Rocker. And Stunfisk was his only Stealth Rocker at that point. And to top it all off, he takes defogging pressure off of Florges and Rotom-Mow. And Florges was going to be the defogger per week, just because of how it is. Rotom-Mow, it can be a good defogger because of that levitate ability, but at the end of the day, Chatot is never running defog, and it's good removal on his end. And I think just adding Empoleon with a Celesteela, Florges, Zygarde, and Medicham core, I mean, it's one of those things where it's going to be so hard to deal with. So hard to deal with. That takes into effect this week. So I want to address that real quick. I do like it with that team. And the Thundurus, we talked about it in the draft a lot. He grabbed Dragonite for Garchomp. That's going to be taken into effect this coming up week. Oh, sorry, wrong team. The Thundurus. And I think Garchomp is a good Pokemon in its own right. I don't know if it was really needed with the Crocodile on the team and the Lycanroc on the team. I think they share a lot of offensive type synergy. I think Dragonite might have fit a little bit better. But at the end of the day, Garchomp with that 1 and 2 base speed instead of Dragonite with base 80, I believe it is. It serves a different role. So we'll see how the Thundurus fare out with it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just, I'm saying it's unusual. So the big thing we need to hone on before we end is this FLA team. And you're probably thinking, why is Roserade not in red? And FLA is a team that we've never heard of. Who are they and what's going on with the league? Why are we falling apart? All of those are valid questions you can have, but I can debunk most of them. So Fall Arbor Flames are taking over in replace of the Rustboro Roserade. At the end of the day, Josh, coach of the Rustboro Roserade, could not keep up with the league, and I wish him the best of luck in his, whatever he needs to take care of in life, as of course, life does come first over Pokemon, at least to most. So at last minute, literally like 2 days ago, Azazel, we were able to find him through Twitter and other leagues, and he stepped up to the challenge, took on the team as his own, made a few adjustments, and is all ready to roll. And I have to say first, congratulations and thank you for joining the league, and I hope you have a fun time here. But yeah, Fall Arbor Flames are going to be the new team stepping in for Rustboro Roserade. So if you saw earlier, we know this team. We know Lopunny, we know Clefable and Scissor and Blastoise was the agency move and all that fun jazz. But we did give him one stipulation for joining the league on such short notice. We gave him an additional free agency pick. We thought that this was fair, and we also made it so that all these Pokemon could be effective week 2. So once he makes up the match for his week 1 matchup against Jordan, coach of the San Andreas Slacking, then all these trades will take into effect on his team, and it really just adds a facelift to this team. I wouldn't say good or bad. I'm just saying it definitely like reconstructs the team in a different way. For example, after all the additional point totals, he will have a few extra points to wager with for trades and things like that. So that's something to note. Also, to top it all off, Necrozma for Sylveon gets rid of that double fairy. We see he already had Clefable, so having Necrozma, a very, very strong Psychic type, which is going to be able to set up Stealth Rocks along with Clefable. Oh man, it's going to be a good Pokemon. He drops Magnezone, as he already did have a Steel type in regular Scissor. So he's getting rid of those double typings that were prevalent on the team. Picks up Salazzle, and he drops Simisear, so he replaces that fire type and ends up gaining another 4 times ground weakness. Electros, though, has that levitate ability, so it's going to be immune to it. And of course, Dusclops is a nice Pokemon to round out of tier 5 to replace Simisear. Like I said, since Magius is being dropped, he's really getting rid of those double typings on the team and just molding a team to maybe something that he prefers. I've never really seen this coach battle yet, but I'm really excited to, and he seems pretty excited to jump into the league, and I hope you guys are excited to watch him play. And with all of that said, let me know down in the description if you think this type of CPL weekly recap is something you want to see in the future. If you want me to add a layout, if you want me to add the teams to the side, or if you want me to maybe slow it down so it's played in its entirety, let me know. All of this, great suggestions, all of it's appreciated, I promise you. So with that being said, I'm gonna get up out of here, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll of course see you in the next one.